Okay guys, so if I've got my mass that's 1 kilogram and it's 10 meters above the ground, and we're assuming we're on Earth, so we've got an acceleration due to gravitational freefall, that's the gravity that pulls it down, of 10 meters per second per second. That means that after I've dropped it for 1 second, it's going at 10 meters a second. And after I've dropped it for 2 seconds, if there wasn't any air resistance, it's going at 20 meters per second. Then we can work out its initial potential energy. PE, potential energy, is equal to its mass multiplied by the force of gravity, which we said was 10, times its height, which is 10 as well, 10 meters. So the potential energy when it starts is 1 times 10 times 10, which is 100 joules of energy that it's starting off with. Now, as it falls, it's going to get faster and faster until just before it hits the ground, it's going at its maximum speed. But it doesn't have any potential energy anymore. And the reason for that is, even though it's still got mass of 1 kilo and the gravitational acceleration due to free fall, gravity, is still 10 meters per second, the height is pretty much zero. It's just about to touch the ground. It's a micron above the ground. And if you multiply anything by 0, you get 0. So whilst at the top, at 10 meters high, its potential energy was 100 joules. When you get all the way down here to the bottom, let's just put it on the bottom and down there, it's got a new potential energy of 0 joules. So all that energy seems to have disappeared. It's certainly not part of potential energy. So because energy has a law of conservation of energy, and you cannot destroy it, you transform it from one form to another, it must be somewhere else. Well, we know where the energy's gone. It's gone into moving. The block is now moving really fast. It's become kinetic energy. So that 100 joules has all transformed from potential energy into kinetic energy. Now, there's an equation for working out kinetic energy. That's its half its mass times its velocity squared. And that's kind of cool, because you can use that to work out how fast the block is going when it hits the ground, or just before it hits the ground, because when it hits the ground, it kind of stops pretty fast. So we can put some numbers in. We know that we've converted all of that potential energy, 100 joules, into kinetic energy, so we know that 100 is equal to half mv squared. And your maths teacher would be very pleased if you could work this out, to work out what the v is. So we've got 100 is equal to half, times 1, because that's the mass, times v squared. So we've really got that 200 is equal to v squared. Now to get v, you have to do a square root of both sides, and using my calculator, okay, so let's put it into the calculator. We've got the square root of 200 brackets is 14.14. And so my velocity, v, is 14 meters per second, roughly, okay?